And joining us now, the Foreign Minister of Egypt, Sameh Shukri, who was the Egyptian ambassador here in the United States a few years ago. That's when I first got to meet him. Foreign Minister, thank you very much for taking a few moments out and updating our viewers on what's going on. What exactly is going on at the Rafah border crossing in southern Gaza between Gaza and Egypt right now? There's a lot of controversy over what's going on, Egypt's position on allowing Palestinian Americans, dual citizens, U.S. citizens who are trying to get out of Gaza to cross that border into Egypt.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Wolf. I wanted to clarify some of the inaccuracies in your piece before. Rafah crossing officially is open on the Egyptian side, has been open all along, and the problem that arose was that it's been subject to aerial bombardment, and thereby on the Gazan side, the roads are not in a state that can receive the transit of vehicles, and as well is that those operating the Gazan side deem it that it is necessary if third nationals are to come out so that humanitarian goods could come in. And we've not been able to get any authorization to send humanitarian supplies to relieve the pressures on the Palestinians of Gaza up to now. The crossing, as far as we're concerned, we have a multitude of requests for we are processing and have indicated that we would provide every facility and assistance. We're in close cooperation with our American friends, recognizing the importance of this issue, not only to Americans, to Canadians, to third nationals from the Netherlands, from Austria. So there's quite a large number. They have to gain permission on the Gaza side to cross. And as I mentioned, the crossing itself on the Gaza side is inoperable because of the aerial bombardment.
So basically what I hear you saying, Foreign Minister, is that if U.S. citizens or other citizens of other countries can get to that Rafah border crossing from Gaza into Egypt, you will let them enter Egypt. Is that right?
If all of the procedure has been duly taken, they've been verified their documents for them on the Gaza side to cross, and they are allowed to do so, we will provide them all the facilities in cooperation with their embassies to get them to a departure point so that they can return to their countries of origin.
So assuming that U.S. citizens can get through the Rafah border crossing into Egypt and Sinai, where do they go from there? Will there be vehicles, buses, cars that can take them across northern Sinai?
There will be coordination with their embassies to provide them transportation, and that they will presumably they would find flights to go home on.
So will they go to Cairo? Will they go to Sharm el-Sheikh? Where will they go in Sinai?
Probably it would be transport by road to Cairo, and from Cairo airport onwards to their final destinations.
But as of right now, what you're saying, and I just want to be precise, Foreign Minister, you're saying the border, the crossing is open as far as Egypt is concerned. You're willing to accept these U.S. citizens and these other citizens if they can get there. But you're saying that near that border crossing at Rafah, because of bombing that's going on, presumably by the Israelis, they can't get there. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the border crossing on the Gaza side is inoperable because of the damage that has been inflicted, and the procedure for those managing the border on the Gaza side to verify the documents and the lists of third nationals that have been provided has not been fulfilled. So as far as we're concerned, we have indicated once and again that we will facilitate. We are in coordination with the embassies in Cairo to receive their lists of nationals, and certainly as they come out and as it is fulfilled the entry of assistance and humanitarian supplies, we'll be very happy to continue to facilitate their return to their countries of origin.
Are humanitarian supplies that are in Egypt right now able to get through the Rafah border crossing into Gaza to help those Palestinians who are there?
No, unfortunately not. We are coordinating with the United Nations, with the UNRWA, to applying for permission to have these supplies transit through the Rafah crossing and be deposited with the United Nations for disbursement. But we have not received authorization to do so. So we are in I think, a very dire circumstance. I was just speaking to the director of the UNRWA, who tells me that there is no water, there is no electricity, there are no supplies, and there are no dwellings for the multitudes of Palestinians, those who have been displaced from the north of Gaza. So it is very critical situation. And we would very much like to disperse all the supplies that have arrived to Arish as soon as possible to meet the needs of those vulnerable Palestinians who are in these very difficult circumstances.
As you know, Foreign Minister, the U.S. State Department has advised all American citizens who are still in Gaza right now, if they want to get out, to go to that as close to the Rafah border crossing into Egypt, to get as close as they can right now, to leave elsewhere in Gaza and try to head south towards the Rafah border crossing. Is that a good idea?
I really can't comment on what the conditions are and what is the U.S. assessment of the degree of safety that can be provided for a large compilation of foreign nationals at the border crossing if it hasn't been finalized, their procedures to actually cross. So I'll leave that to those who might have more information on the actual status on the ground.
Foreign Minister, in your conversations with your U.S. counterpart, the U.S. Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, what's your bottom line, Egypt's bottom line message to the U.S. right now?
Well, I wouldn't put it in terms of a bottom line. We've been in communications. I spoke to the Secretary Blinken Saturday very early on, and we have had constant communications between the two State Department and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other competent Egyptian authorities. We are advocating for the need to respect international humanitarian law, the need to address the concerns and the very difficult circumstances that the Palestinian civilians are under. We need greater protection for civilians not to come under fire, and certainly the numbers of rising casualties and injuries with more than 500 children who have perished during this conflict. We need to contain this and hopefully see a way out of this quagmire and return to dealing with the issue of resolution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the end of the occupation.
Do you see any peaceful resolution emerging anytime soon from what's going on in Gaza right now? Because clearly the Israelis are bracing for a massive ground invasion to try to destroy Hamas in Gaza.
Well, we are always optimistic, and we are always calling for peace to be prevalent in the area, to find a solution based on the international legitimacy and the international consensus on a two-state solution. The current conditions, of course, are not very conducive to addressing that, and thereby we're concentrating now on the protection of civilians and their needs, and hope to contain this and be able to work more effectively in cooperation with the United States to find a definitive resolution to the conflict. It's hard to do so while a military activity is underway, but we believe that we have to deal with all of the various aspects.
Has Egypt condemned the Hamas terror attack on Israel that occurred a week ago?
We have been very clear that we do not accept any form of targeting of innocent civilians. We have said so in our public statements. We have said so in the resolution issued by the Arab League. It was one of the issues upon which we insisted. And we continue to believe that all concerns must conform to international humanitarian law and avoid any grave violations or what could be deemed as crimes against humanity.